Tate reveals the main reason for its lower attendance figures. Tate has unveiled the primary factor contributing to its declining visitor numbers, and the implications are significant. In the fiscal year 2019-20, Tate Modern attracted 609,000 visitors from Europe aged 16 to 24, but this figure plummeted to just 357,000 in 2023-24. While domestic attendance has rebounded to approximately 95% of pre-COVID levels, international visitor numbers have stagnated at around 61%. Government data indicates that the number of EU visitors to the UK has decreased by 10% compared to 2019. The situation varies across other UK museums, with the British Museum's overseas visitor percentage nearing its 2019 figures. Since Tate announced a budget deficit for 2024-25, critics have pointed fingers at the museum's programming as a key reason for its financial struggles. They contend that the curatorial choices have led to a noticeable drop in visitor numbers over recent years, which in turn has affected revenue from ticketed exhibitions, food services, and gift shops, as the permanent collections remain free to the public. The Art newspaper's annual report on visitor statistics, released in April, confirmed that attendance at Tate venues in 2024 was significantly lower than in 2019, a year marked by record attendance. Specifically, Tate Modern experienced a 25% decrease in visitors compared to pre-pandemic levels. Tate Britain saw a 32% drop, and Tate St. Ives recorded a 37% decline in attendance. Tate Liverpool is currently closed and will not reopen until 2027. The latest findings from the Art newspaper, which integrate government statistics, university enrollment data, tourism figures, and surveys from the Arts Council and Art Fund, reveal that while Tate, like other national museums, places great emphasis on programming to draw in visitors, external socioeconomic factors, both national and international, play an equally, if not more, significant role in influencing foot traffic. According to Tate's internal research, domestic attendance is nearly back to pre-COVID levels, but there has been a stark decline in international visitors, particularly among the crucial demographic of Europeans aged 16 to 24. This age group is vital for Tate and art museums in general, as opposed to traditional museums. Interestingly, despite the drop in attendance, Tate Modern, which typically accounts for about 75% of the group's visitors, still ranks as the fifth most visited art museum globally, trailing behind the Louvre, the Vatican Museums, the British Museum, and New York's Metropolitan Museum of Art. Since 2014, it has fluctuated between the third and seventh positions, except for 2021, when it fell to 16th due to pandemic-related closures. Tate Modern continues to hold the title of the world's leading modern and contemporary art museum, a position it has maintained since 2014, with the exception of 2021, when it was surpassed by Paris's Centre Pompidou and New York's Museum of Modern Art. While there is no doubt about the popularity of Tate Modern, and by extension, the Tate brand, the decline in visitor numbers is a pressing concern. Liam Darbin, Tate's Director of Audiences and Innovation, along with his team, has conducted a detailed analysis of demographic changes among the museum's visitors over the past decade, which align with broader trends in UK tourism. Darbin's internal research, which includes exit surveys from all galleries, collaborative data sharing with other museums, and insights from the UK Tourism Board, indicates that, excluding Tate Liverpool, the number of visitors from within the UK in 2024 is nearly equivalent to pre-pandemic figures. A spokesperson for Tate stated, Tate's domestic visitor numbers have rebounded to about 95% of their pre-COVID level, while international visitor numbers are at approximately 61% of their pre-COVID level. In the 3 financial years leading up to the pandemic, 2017-18, 2018-19, 2019-20, the average total attendance at Tate Modern, Tate Britain, and Tate St. Ives was 7.4 million, with around 3.8 million of those visitors coming from the UK. In contrast, the average attendance for the two full post-COVID years, 2022 and 23, and 2023 and 24, was 5.8 million, with approximately 3.6 million being UK-based visitors. Conversely, the number of international visitors plummeted from about 3.6 million to roughly 2.2 million. Maria Balshaw, Tate's director, highlights the significant decline in young visitors from the EU, particularly those aged 16 to 24. This demographic is crucial for the museum group, representing 1 in 6 visitors to both Tate Modern and Tate Britain. The statistics are telling, she remarks. Tate Modern alone attracted 609,000 visitors from Europe aged 16 to 24 in 2019 to 20. But this number fell to 357,000 in 2023 to 24. Young people in this age group are deeply impacted by Brexit, which has altered their educational and employment prospects, and by COVID, which has disrupted their studies and lifestyle choices. Generally, they are also traveling less. Supporting this observation, data from the Office of National Statistics reveals that the number of EU visitors remains stable at around 24 million annually from 2015 to 2019. But by 2023, this figure had decreased to approximately 22 million. While this is still a considerable number, the composition of these tourism statistics has changed. Ross Bennett Cook, a travel and tourism expert at the University of Westminster, notes, young people are feeling the brunt of the cost of living crisis more than older generations. Gen Z and millennials are the demographics most affected when it comes to travel. Additionally, research from the universities of Bath and Antwerp indicates a decline of 48% to 64% in EU students enrolling in UK universities. The Migration Observatory at the University of Oxford has reported a nearly 70% drop in net EU migration to the UK since 2016, with more EU citizens leaving the UK than arriving. This trend results in fewer EU residents in the UK, whether students or otherwise, for their friends and family from Europe to visit. During Tate Modern's recent birthday weekender, the museum welcomed 76,000 visitors over 3 days, with 70% of them being under 35, Balshaw noted. This is double what we would typically expect for such an event. Our Tate Collective membership, aimed at those under 25, has now reached 180,000 active members. We are thrilled that our galleries are successfully attracting younger visitors from the UK. If they enjoy their experience at 24 or 25, they are likely to return when they are 55 or 70. However, we are not seeing the same influx from European countries as they are simply not in London as frequently. Darbin also emphasizes a significant decline in visitors from Northeast Asia, which aligns with UK tourism data showing slower growth compared to visitors from North America, Australia, and Saudi Arabia. Liam Darbin further explains that the 16 to 25 and 16 to 35 age groups are where the shift in visitation is moving away from traditional museums towards art galleries. He believes that young adults are a more critical demographic for art galleries than for conventional museums, making the loss of young EU visitors particularly impactful. However, the situation is not uniform across the board. India divers. The policy and ethics lead at the Museums Association points out that post-COVID visitor statistics for UK museums present a mixed picture. She cites recent data from the Association of Leading Visitor Attractions, ALVA, which indicates that institutions such as the Natural History Museum, the National Portrait Gallery, the Museum of Liverpool, the Ulster Museum in Belfast, the Pitt Rivers Museum in Oxford, the Fitzwilliam Museum in Cambridge, and the National Museum of Scotland have all experienced notable growth in visitor numbers in 2024. A representative from the British Museum, which ranks third globally, stated, "Our latest research indicates that international visitors constituted 64% of our audience, which is close to pre-pandemic levels when international visitors made up 70% of our audience. Domestic visits continue to grow in real terms, and these figures show that visits to London have surpassed pre-pandemic numbers. Conversely, institutions like the Manchester Museum, the Royal Academy of Arts, Liverpool's Maritime Museum, National Museum Cardiff, and Scotland's Gallery of Modern Art have all had disappointing years. The Science Museum, which saw a 4% decline in visitor numbers compared to 2023, has yet to see international attendance return to pre-pandemic levels. A museum spokesperson noted in 2024/25, about a third of all visits were made by international visitors, compared to an average of 46% pre-pandemic. The decrease in international visitors has been somewhat balanced by an increase in UK-based visitors. In a survey conducted by Art Fund, which included responses from 324 museum directors, 57% reported an overall increase in visitor numbers compared to the previous year, but only 25% noted a specific rise in international visitor numbers. The socioeconomic factors at play are crucial, according to the Arts Council England's annual museum survey. Published in March, the average change in visitor numbers across museums is a decline of 10%, with 3 in 10 museums reporting a drop of more than 25% compared to 5 years ago. In Scotland, the Museums Gallery Scotland's 2024 survey noted that visits to Scottish museums in 2023-24 exceeded those in 2019-20, with 21% of visitors being local, 36% national, and 42% international. All stakeholders agree that programming is essential for attracting audiences. Darbin asserts that Tate anticipates continued growth, particularly among the demographics discussed, due to the appeal of its programming. The British Museum spokesperson emphasizes that the visitor perspective is central to the master plan launched in 2024. The Science Museum spokesperson adds that their audience is drawn in by thought-provoking exhibitions, new free galleries, and engaging experiences. However, Tate's findings suggest that visitor numbers are influenced as much, if not more, by external socioeconomic factors, both nationally and internationally. Moreover, in UK museums and galleries where collections are freely accessible, visitor numbers and other revenue-generating strategies devised by museum directors can only yield limited financial returns. The survival of cultural institutions relies on more than just visitor numbers. As cultural organizations are once again facing pay reviews and workforce reductions amid real-term cuts to government funding over the next 4 years. The Public Accounts Committee has reportedly warned the Treasury that over 50% of local councils in England are at risk of insolvency, which does not bode well for local government funding for arts and culture, as well as the museums and galleries that rely on it. Why no one likes the Tate anymore? A deep dive. Imagine this, a once beloved cultural hub, now seemingly deserted, its halls echoing with the ghosts of past visitors. What happened to the Tate? The Tate Modern, to be precise, which celebrated its 25th anniversary in May 2000, has seen a dramatic shift in its popularity. The crowds that once flocked to its doors, clutching free bottles of Beck's, have dwindled significantly. But here's where it gets controversial. Is it Brexit? Is it COVID? Or is it something more profound? The Tate Modern, once a vibrant hub of contemporary art, now stands beleaguered. According to a recent article in the art newspaper, visitor figures for 2024 were down 25% from pre-COVID 2019 levels. Tate Britain saw a 32% drop, and Tate St. Ives a staggering 37%. Maria Balshaw, the director of Tate, offered a numerical explanation for the decline. She attributed the drop to a significant decrease in overseas visitors, particularly those aged 16 to 24. Domestic visitors, she noted, are nearly back to pre-pandemic levels. Balshaw pointed to Brexit and COVID as the primary culprits for the lack of international traffic. However, when you look at other London art institutions and tourist attractions, the picture is mixed. Some, like the National Portrait Gallery and the British Museum, as an adopted Berliner who now sees London in time-lapse, I first noticed this shift in 2021 at Tate Britain's Decolonizing Hogarth and Europe exhibition. The exhibition was filled with wall texts lamenting Hogarth's connections to British colonialism and apologizing for any racial stereotypes. Subsequent rehangs seemed to de-emphasize the quality of artworks in favor of how they reflected themes of identity. The last Turner Prize, for instance, was visually dull and didactically heavy on themes of identity and colonialism, with wall texts justifying the work entirely in terms of the issues it raised. Tate Modern, meanwhile, has become a one-stop shop for women artists who labored in the shadows of men. Artists like Hilma af Klint, Sophie Tabor-Arp, Gabriella Munter, Yoko Ono, and Ana Mendieta have been featured prominently. While this is commendable in many ways, the overall tone can feel like a righteous lecture, combined with the lingering effects of COVID and Brexit, has led to solemn and empty-feeling halls. It's like having two restaurants next to each other, where one looks busy and the other doesn't. People think the busy one must be good and queue up, making it even busier. Meanwhile, the other restaurant with no one going must be bad, and so, presto, nobody goes. Tate might be in that kind of spiral where unpopularity seeds itself. Tate Modern particularly was built on vibes and busyness, and without all the people, and with artworks and wall texts guilt-tripping a viewer from every corner, the vibes are imbalanced, and the public votes with their feet. There is, however, a quick way to solve this, besides a more balanced approach to programming, though it does involve some short-term losses to secure later gains. Word to Miss Balshaw. Admittedly, this might be an ambitious restaurateur's trick. Take a pay cut and quietly pay people to visit. Post some well-cooked visitor figures that speak to revived local interest, countering the decline in international visitors. Ride the rebound narrative in the press, and soon after, watch the real audience come back. After all, as Bridget Riley might say, and her just-opened spotlight display at Tate Britain is perhaps a sign of reluctant capitulation to more crowd-pleasing programming. It's all about the optics. But here's a thought-provoking question for you. Do you think Tate's shift in programming is a necessary evolution or a misstep? Should art institutions prioritize social justice themes, or should they focus more on the aesthetic and emotional impact of the art itself? Let us know your thoughts in the comments below. Tate Britain's rising attendance and exhibition success, a director's perspective. Unveiling the intricacies of Tate's attendance figures. Boldly diving into the heart of the matter, the Tate's attendance figures have sparked a heated debate, leaving many wondering if the renowned institution is losing its luster. Tate Britain and Tate Modern have witnessed a significant influx of visitors yearly, with Tate Modern proudly holding the title of the world's most frequented modern art museum. In 2024, a staggering 6 million individuals graced the doors of a Tate gallery, a figure that might seem impressive until one delves deeper. A closer look reveals that comparing the recent attendance statistics to the record-breaking year of 2019, when Tate Modern and Tate Britain welcomed an additional 700,000 visitors compared to the previous year, may not paint a full picture. To truly understand the situation, it's crucial to consider the average annual attendance figures prior to the pandemic's grip. This comparison offers a fairer perspective on the current states of affairs. It's noteworthy that the number of UK residents visiting Tate's galleries has nearly reached pre-pandemic levels, with 95% of the previous footfall returning. Moreover, paid exhibitions at both Tate Modern and Tate Britain have experienced a resurgence, reaching pre-COVID numbers. The primary area of decline appears to be international tourist visits to the free collections, accounting for almost all of the remaining gap. Yet, Tate's global reach extends far beyond its physical walls, engaging an additional 1 million individuals through exhibitions worldwide. While shifts in European visitation demographics have undoubtedly left their mark, Tate's success with local audiences remains a beacon of hope. The remarkable turnout of 76,000 visitors for Tate Modern's birthday weekend, with a youthful demographic of 70% under 35, highlights the institution's enduring appeal among younger generations. Upcoming exhibitions featuring the likes of Pablo Picasso, J.M.W. Turner, John Constable, and Tracy Emin promise to build upon this momentum, setting the stage for unprecedented growth. However, the debate thickens when one considers the perspectives of critics like Catherine Bliss from Tonbridge, Kent. Bliss argues that the Tate's recent exhibition offerings have fallen short of the groundbreaking spectacles that once defined the institution. Where are the shows that challenge perceptions, such as Cruel Tender, which illuminated the potential of photography in ways never seen before? The audacity of Mona Hatoun's retrospective, the enchantment of Christian Marclay's The Clock, the immersive experience of Molifer Eliasson's The Weather Project, and the political resonance of Ai Weiwei's Sunflower Seeds. All these masterpieces have left an indelible mark on the art world. Save for the Lynette Yiadom Boaki portrait exhibition at Tate Britain and the captivating El Anatsui pieces in the Turbine Hall, contemporary art has struggled to ignite the same passion in recent times. The diminishing relevance of the Turner Prize, once a central topic of national discourse, adds fuel to the fire. Its low profile has rendered it almost insignificant in the eyes of the media. Is it possible that contemporary art itself has lost its vitality? Or is there a greater need in today's society for a thriving art and public gallery scene that encourages dialogue on pressing issues? These are questions that deserve contemplation and debate, inviting both agreement and dissent in equal measure.